Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be recapping my round 2 game that I played in the Lina Grumette Memorial tournament. Now going into this game, I was 1 out of 1, and the second round I'm with the white pieces playing against a 1758 rated player. And so I knew this was going to be a tough game, but let me just try my best. So let's get on with the game now. So I went e4, he plays Sicilian, and he plays the Najdorf variation with pawn to a6. I go f3 trying to do this what is called the English attack setup, where I go bishop e3, queen d2, castle, and g4. As I do just that, he does the regular moves, which is totally fine. And here, he does something a little weird. He delays castling, which I think is totally fine, but I was just not used to playing against this OTB. So I had not really that much experience, so I just went along with the regular plans, g4, b5. I went g5, trying to challenge this knight, see where it's going to go, and maybe I can land my knight to d5, which is like a main component in the English attack setup. And here he goes b4. Now I thought maybe he could go knight h5, this is the best move, and had I gone knight d5, he could take. I could just take with the pawn, trying to get my knight to a5 to c6, which is an idea in the English attack setup. He goes b4, and had I gone queen takes d5 here, he could go bishop g5, takes, king d1, and this pawn would be under attack. So maybe after castles, queen takes d6 and rook after d8. Maybe this position is I saw this position was like totally fine. Maybe I had some slight advantage, but I thought this was just fine for him. And so if he got knight h5, I probably would have just gone king b1 or something like that, to just get my space maybe for the knights if they get attacked. Like a b4, maybe I can go knight e2, or maybe even knight a4, but I know knight e2, I can just go knight e2. But anyways, he just goes b4, and I had an idea here where if I would go knight e2, knight h5, and go knight to g3. And if he trade off the knights, I would have an open h-file, and I'll be f4, f5 would be coming, and he would have a few problems here. So I thought he shouldn't do this. And here goes knight f4. But I saw this interesting move after the game that none of us even considered until I started analyzing it later, which is this move pawn to g6. And the point is, after takes, I don't have much of an attack here. So maybe f4, takes, 95. Apparently this position is fine. Apparently it's fine. I thought this was weird. Maybe it isn't fine. But I thought g6 was interesting because it stops a little bit of the attack. But he goes knight f4, which I thought was reasonable. And here I had an idea, which is just to take, and go knight to f5. And just try to attack him as much as possible. If he can't just leave my knight here, I would take on d6 or take on g7. Sample line, bishop takes g5. Worst case scenario, I could just take and win an exchange. And this position is probably totally fine. I could just take on b4 here. But I thought after a bishop g5, I could just go check. This is checkmate. Or, wait, it's almost checkmate, king of 6, but after takes I win a piece. But after king of 8, I thought takes, queen takes c7, queen c6, king e8, queen e6. If he guards, I can win this pawn. The bishop's coming here, this is just GG. So, after knight f5, he has to take here. And I thought, with opposite colored bishops, a little bit of imbalance, I would be able to attack his king. Because when you have an opposite colored bishop, so let's say I had a light squared bishop here, I control a set type of squares, the light squares, which his dark squared bishop can't even challenge. Which is why, you know, the saying opposite colored bishop endgames are a draw. Endgames, but sometimes not middle games, because you can create attacks with opposite colored bishops. So I thought I liked my position here. If he took, I was gonna take, although apparently taking this pawn is better. I thought that was weird because he could just go rook a8 in that variation. After queen takes d6, bishop e7, queen d2. I thought I had a lot to fight for here. I thought I could play for a win. I have some sort of imbalance here with the opposite side castling, the opposite colored bishops, and it will just be a game of chess. And so I saw all of this, and then I thought, like, why do I have to try to give up this pawn? Like, I can just go h4 and do the same thing. Maybe possibly with more effect, because now I have a pawn that's ready to go attack the king side. And he goes a5, and I'm like, okay, I can take, and if e takes f4, I can just go knight f5. Takes, if a4, knight d4, this pawn's weak, this pawn's weak, I'm gonna get in with my bishop somewhere. I just thought I would be better here. And then he hits me with a4, a move I did not even consider at all. And I probably should have at my level. And I just completely forgot about it. I actually thought I was losing because I didn't see this move. I thought, okay, if bishop b3, a takes b3, a b3, bishop b3, and I'm just losing here because he's getting all his pieces. Queen a5, knight c5, pressure on c2, bishop d3, queen a5. This is just a big problem. Queen a1, queen takes b2. So after a4, I'm like, okay, well I can go knight d4 with the idea of takes knight f5. And I thought, okay, this is just stupid. He could just take my knight, and he would have sights on my a2, and my position is still weak. But apparently this is the best move. This is the best move, because I could take this pawn, I'm attacking this, and I probably should have calculated this further, but I just thought it looked stupid to put both pieces under attack, especially if he, after like something like queen a5, or maybe just like, I can't really find a move here for black. Actually, this is kind of problematic. So I probably should have considered this further, but I didn't, because it just looked really stupid. And so I thought, okay, what do I do? I'm just losing a piece here if I don't do anything. But thankfully, I found knight a1. I'm like, okay, thank God I'm not losing a piece here. So after e takes f4, I didn't even want to take this. I didn't even want to take the pawn, because like after castle, like I was just super worried about my like position. Like he could get bishop a2, he could get his queen around, maybe go b3 or a3. I didn't want my queen to go venture out and take a pawn, and like take this risk of like having maybe b3 coming soon. And I didn't want to do that. I felt I had to be quick with my counterplay, so I went knight f5 here. And I knew he had to take. I just knew he had to take. Bishop takes f5, e takes f5, and now he goes queen a5, guarding the pawn, and ready for some sort of a3 or b3. And here I thought, I could go bishop d3. This is a move. And but then I thought, he's attacking this pawn, why not I just take it, defend my pawn, and I didn't really see a way for him to continue forward with his attack. And so he goes a3, knight b3, takes king b1. I didn't want to take because of queen a3 check, king b1, rook a8, and I saw this. I actually thought about going for this and going bishop c4, bishop b3, but I saw which I thought was an even better approach, which is just go king b1, have this sort of umbrella pawn, guard my king. He has to move his queen. He goes queen a3 to guard b2, and now I go queen to d4, attacking d7, attacking b2, and so now he has to choose to defend one pawn. And so if he goes something like rook c3 here to cut off connection, I could just go queen takes g7, rook f8, f6, and with my bishop coming, my rook coming, this is probably completely winning for me. Like with like the e file completely open, and maybe like he has some sort of like fancy move, I could just go rook b1. There's nothing really here for him. It's like a resignable position. So he goes castles, reasonable move, and I thought, okay, let's just take the pawn. I'm up a pawn, my position should be totally fine. And here he goes knight c5. And I thought, okay, I did not want to allow him to go knight a4, knight c3. So my first instinct was bishop b5, to just guard the knight from going to a4. But then I thought, well, he could just probably kick my bishop out. Do something like this. He could probably kick it out somehow. And my bishop's not very, like, sturdy over there. So I thought, okay, let's just trade off the queens, trade off the knights, and go bishop d3. And the point is, I'm up a pawn. My advantage wasn't as big as it once was, but it's a playable position. He still has a lot to prove here if he wants to make a draw. So he goes rook b8 check. After king c1, rook b2, I just did not want to allow this at all to cost. I have to go king a1. As scary as it looks, like even though if he gets his bishop on this diagonal, it's checkmate. But he can't just go like g6 trying to get his bishop here, because I can just go f6. And actually, this position is getting better for me because now his king is trapped and I can maybe get my rook in. So he goes bishop d8, trying to reroute his bishop over here. And I'm like, okay, rook b1, and I go rook b3, and he goes back trying to go get his bishop to d4. But now I use rook as a sort of umbrella for my king to sidestep and my king to be completely safe. And now I'm just gonna try to like make moves and complicate the matters a little bit. He goes bishop a5, I go bishop e4, bishop c3, rook e1, bishop e5. I then activate my bishop, and now I had an idea. I went c4, and I want my bishop to be guarding everything and also be playing an attacking role for against the black side. And I also wanted to go rook d3 and king c2. And I saw after like if let's say a random move like this, if I just go king c2, he can actually take. And after a takes b3, a2, my position is completely losing because I can't go rook a1 because take, and there's no way for me to stop this pawn from queening. And I thought after rook takes b3, I didn't want to take with the king because even though I win this pawn, I didn't see a way for my king to get out. I thought my king ventured out too far, he could come in and try to win my pawns. And I thought that was enough counterplay for him. So I thought, okay, this is just going to be a draw. I didn't want to do this. So that's why, after c4, I want to put my rook on d3 and my king on c2. So then I can actually take with the rook and I can come in. And after like something like king here, king c2, this pawn's under attack. So maybe he goes here, bishop b2 guarding it. But then now this pawn's weak, I can attack it. I just want to make annoying moves to complicate the matters a bit. So I think he saw that as like a slight problem for him, so that's why he traded the rooks. But now I saw I could potentially have a protected passer on b5, so I want to try and push it. He didn't allow me. He goes bishop c3, the best move. I go king a2, and here he goes rook to c7, a slight error. I'm not gonna explain why yet because of something that happens later. He probably should have just went bishop b4 and covered everything, and at this point it's still a draw. But I still have a few tricks. I could maybe go bishop e4, try and get rook d5, try and go f6 to stop his king from coming in. And the point of rook c7 is I can't just take the pawn, because rook a7 is checkmate. So I just went bishop e4, he goes bishop b4, rook d5, bishop c5, and here I go f6, trying to trap the king in. And here he blunders, he goes g6, in the 40th move, when we get extra time. And the reason why it's a blunder, apparently the only way to draw is you have to actually take. And I thought this was really dumb to allow. Like giving up the pawn after rook e8, you come in, you have to go bishop e4, and then you trade the rooks. And I'm not even sure if this is drawn, because I have this pawn and this pawn. So I don't even know how this is drawn. I can actually go b4. I thought when we were analyzing after takes king b3, I go bishop b1 so I can guard the promotion, and I had this pawn and this pawn. I actually don't even know if this is a draw at this point. So after rook d5, bishop c5, the reason why it's a blunder is because I have this move b4, the only move to win the game. If I didn't have b4 here, the position would just be locked shut. That was the point of g6, to lock the position shut. And now I can't even break through. But b4 is a move to break through. If he takes, I can go rook to b5. And going back to rook c7, the reason why this is an error is because I actually also have b4 here. Although it's with less impact. If takes, rook b1, bishop c5, check, king e7, and I can go win the pawns. I didn't see this over the board, and neither did he. But now I finally saw it. He goes here, I take the pawn d6. He can't just take here because that's checkmate. So he goes back, I go c5. I then put my rook on the 7th rank. If bishop takes g5, I thought bishop d5. And he can't just take here because this just wins a piece. And so I thought if I win this pawn, I'll have a f-passed pawn and I'll have 2 protected passed pawns. So that'll just be easily winning for me. So after rook d7, he goes king e8. I check. he goes king d8, and I go rook f7, bishop g5, c6. And he goes king e8, attacking my pawn, and the point is he wanted me to go take, and I calculated that this is totally fine, just giving up my pawn, because now I can take this pawn. I'm up 2 pawns. I also have this, which it doesn't even matter, because he goes king d8, and he blunders a checkmate. And after king f8, I can just go rook f7 checkmate. So after king d8, I then go rook d7 checkmate. The game is over. I won this game, and this is a really tough game. I give props to like my opponent. He held his nerves for like most of the game, and like he kept his cool even after like I got like I had this like slight chance to just I had a chance maybe to do this move knight d4 if I really thought about it. I had a good advantage here, but then I still brought it back, and then we went to this end game where like I still had it was still a draw, but now I'm up a pawn. I still have chances here, and it was a draw for most of the game until I found this nice move b4 here, and the only way to draw is to actually take the pawn and allow me to win this pawn, so he can trade rooks like this. So anyway, this is a tough game. I'm at 2 out of 2 right now, and yeah, my next round is a very tough game. Spoiler alert, I'll be playing the #1 seed in the 3rd round. And yeah, I hope you stick around for that recap as well. Anyways, that's all for today, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.